But when those are gone, we're right back in the same boat we were in. And we need to look at this having cent payroll tax from a very serious side. We want to be where we need to be, and it's not gonna make me a penny or you a penny, it's just gonna make the city of Louisa the place it ought to be, and a place people are proud of and wanna live in and wanna come here. And right now, we don't have that kind of adequacy for no one to look forward to. That we've looked at is three things, and the only thing that we even thought about working at is the payroll tax. And but nobody likes taxes. I don't like taxes, and you don't like taxes, and nobody else does. But I was talking today, a guy came here today from one of the senator's office. He told me that he was in Kentucky, and they are just like we are. They're trying to make it and trying to get things going. And up down the river, every city I know of is in the same boat we are, and they're looking for ways to make ends meet too. So that's, if we don't do something, then we're going to lose. I'm just afraid we're going to lose another police officer besides the two already talked about. And we had a police department here that there was nothing at all. And I've talked to doctors, and they said, Mayor, I don't care to pay it. I've talked to pharmacists, said, Mayor, we don't care to pay it. So it's up to the council tonight to give me an answer. What do we want to be, worse or be better? And that's the only thing I know today. I've tried my best and done all I can do to make it possible. And you all legislators, I'm the executive person, you all do the legislating, and we'll follow it thereafter. What do you think, Lucy?
Hey, I made my comment before. I think we need it. I pay it myself. There's a lot of people who, that work here, that don't live here, that would affect them. The school board just did a 4% raise.
Right.
No one showed up to question that raise.
They sure did.
And that was directly on property owners. That's another tax. That is another tax.
Mm-hmm.
Our tax, the occupational tax, is fair to people who do not work here. It doesn't just beat property owners to death.
That's right. Right.
No, that's my view.
Ben, what do you think?
We have people, employees that go from this town to other towns surrounding us, such as Lisa, who pays these other towns this tax, but none of it comes back to this town because we don't have it.
Then I'll talk.
Do
See
what?
what they think about it.
Well,
Before I waste my breath.
what do you think, back over?
You know what we think, so go ahead and talk.
Pardon me?
I told him, go ahead
I
and
mean,
talk.
I think a payroll tax more than an occupational tax, not taxing the profits of the business. It's a strict payroll tax.
Well, here's something else one thing that we could do. We could do it for, I don't think a year is gonna tell us whether it's good or bad, but we can do it for a year and then 2 years and then see what it looks like. We can always change it. I mean, we're legislators, you all are, and you can do what you want to. If it don't look right and it's not working out,
But I think it needs to be designated, this is what we want to do, and we watch what we're doing with it.
exactly.
And maybe even to the point of before certain things are done with the money, the council, whatever, has the meeting to determine what the money's gonna be used for. Something comes up that we need, I don't know, some emergency fund.
That was brought up once before by Brad, and they said they wouldn't do it.
Go ahead, Ben.
All right. Now, you go to the general fund, right?
Yeah.
So is it the mayor's will to do what he wants?
No.
Or is it set by council?
No, because at the end of the day, the mayor can only
That's,
carry out the budget
That's right.
the council enacts.
But can we designate that money for certain things? And that's all it be used for.
I'm sorry?
Can we designate that money for certain things, and that's the only thing it'd be used for unless it's brought up before council?
Yeah, I think you could.
Brad asked
I'm
that
not sure,
question.
but.
He said right here and
that's
asked
for general
that.
fund.
He did.
They got into the general fund and stuff. Now, we called West Liberty. It's a little bit bigger than Louisa. It's got 200 businesses. I think Louisa's got 50-ish, whatever. It's got a hospital, schools. It's got a prison. We don't have a prison, but, in 1 year at a 0.5%, just a strict payroll tax, not occupied where it taxes the business profits, it was $330,000 for 1 year. So, that's quite a bit of cash.
Well, yeah, back to your question, I think Gloria mentioned something. Initially, I thought I'd read something when I researched this, it had to be the general fund. When I went back and researched it some more when the question came up, I could not find what I thought I'd found on the general fund. Because initially I told council it had to be the general fund. So I think probably, since I couldn't find that, I think probably you could designate it for something.
It don't care. where
But it's
goes.
academic either way, Ben, because the mayor does not have, the mayor is not a king. He cannot decide how the money is spent. He has to spend it within the confines of whatever budget. And, you know, and you could put a line item. In fact, I think Dan Howard even suggested that we have a line item in the budget for contingency funds.
Did Dennis just,
So, yeah, I think.
It's right.
look at the broad picture of it?
I mean, I ain't gonna say, okay, let's give it all to the police department because they're short and they need cruisers. No.
It'll be
It
a
ain't gonna
broad
happen.
picture of all departments. That's what it should be.
Well, wouldn't council have a say in that if you
Is that-
pass this thing?
We set the rate.
Yeah.
They get fee. You mean what they buy, you mean?
What happens is if council sets a rate and they project this money's gonna come in, that has to be put in the revenue in the budget.
That's right.
And then council needs to say where it's gonna be spent, and that's how council controls the budget.
Well, I'm not. Now, if you want me to talk, I don't think you ought to tax the working people if you don't tax the business people, period.
So I said occupation, what should it be?
Take your vote.
I mean, have I got a motion for it?
I'll make a motion for it.
Have I a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Nay.
See, you knew you was gonna do that when I asked. Well, I said,
Well,
I
I
ain't even done
told
it,
you,
go red, it's a waste
well,
of my
I
time.
told you,
I'm wasting my time.
Don't
Here's
get
the bar.
mad.
We're wasting our time coming out here on these problems. We're gonna have, well, I'd go home and quit.
We need to do something to bring.
I think
I don't
Gloria,
know what else you want.
Gloria voted nay,
the
and
other two hadn't voted yet.
we need to,
What'd you vote, Chris?
No.
I don't know how you can do that, I guess it's your business.
Rita, you vote yes?
Alright,
What
we
you-
got
I mean,
three
this
yeses.
We got 2 nays and 3 noes, 3 yeas,
No.
2 yeas, 3 noes.
No, we have three yeses. And let me see if I got this right. Ben, Lisa, and Rita voted yes, is that right?
Yes.
Gloria and Chris voted no, is that right?
All right, then.
the present draft, the last draft that we had of this is, we had a sunset provision. After a year, it would expire.
No.
Well, let me finish. The other thing it had, it was it applied across the board to people who were on, payroll, salary, but also applied to net profits for business. So it applied to that. I think the first thing you're gonna have to decide and discuss it is, one, you want the current form where there is a sunset provision, that is after a year it expires, or do you want to leave it open-ended? I can write it either way. But you need, I need direction as to how you want to
Yeah,
draft it.
well, let's stop and give you those directions. What do y'all wanna do?
I thought we meant like an annual review where we could end it, depending.
You always have the power, the draft that we had of this is, we had a sunset provision, after a year, it would expire.
No.
Well, let me finish. The other thing it had, it was it applied across the board to people who were on, payroll, salary, but also applied to net profits for business. So it applied to that. I think the first thing, if we enacted it open-ended, I'm not saying that's what you should do, but you always have the power to repeal an ordinance.
So at any point in time, you can back it out.
Anytime you can repeal it. And, you know, you just go, initially, the council just wanted to do it for a year and let it expire and get over the hump. So, again, it makes no difference to me. The council's got to give me direction. Item number one, you want open-ended? You want just for a year? You want just for 2 years? Because, you know, we gotta know whatever you vote on, yay or nay, one way or the other. So that's the first thing you gotta decide. The second thing you gotta decide, in its current form, it is both, it covers both people, you know, payroll. It also covers the net profits of businesses. I think being indicated he didn't want to do the net profits of businesses. You know, again, and you want just straight payroll. Again, I can write it either way. I have to have direction on those two things from council as to how you want those things managed, so.
Okay.
So
You're gonna give it to him then, okay? You okay with that, Lisa? Ben?
I'm fine with the term as long as it's feasible as far as setting it up, I mean, getting it into effect. I mean, I'm just going by what Beth said, as long as we can get it.
Well, Kathy will be administering it, so she, on the length of that, she's better judge it that than I would be.
And I have several concerns about it, I don't care to tell you. First of all, I've got to get software from that company. It's gonna cost us, what did I say, $2,000? And I've got bills piled up in there. I've got ordinances I need to
How much cash you got right now?
advertise. I'm
How much
sorry,
cash you got right now?
I've got $18,000
Cash?
in the bank, and I've got $42,000 with bills.
Yeah.
And some bills that need to be paid now. You know, all this, we're trying to decide what to do. I'm sorry, it's not getting no bills paid.
Make a motion. Rita?
I just said I think it needs a sunset provision. It needs to be June of 2012
Review it.
to review
To review it.
Is it for businesses and employees or just?
business and employees.
You
All right.
make the motion?
Second?
Made the motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Turn back
Okay.
around.